Are you struggling between two very separate feelings in your voice? Does one side sound one way, and then as you get higher, all of a sudden your voice changes and you feel like it doesn't sound like you anymore? I hear a lot of teachers and singers talk about finding your mix, and I get questions on TikTok about this all the time. How do I build my mix? Or what if I can't find my mix? So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the meaning behind those terms and why it matters for your voice. And stick around because I'm also going to walk you through my favorite 3 straw exercises for balancing and strengthening your mix with a singing straw. My name is Whitney Nichole, and I'm a singer-songwriter, vocal coach, studio owner, and creator of the Singing Straw, which is a practical tool that helps singers develop a stronger, healthier, and more balanced voice. So if that sounds like something you're into, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because we do a video every Monday on just that. So what do people actually mean when they talk about mixed voice? Well, the term mixed voice is born out of a couple of other terms that I kind of find somewhat problematic, but we'll dive into them here for a second. So have you heard people talk about their head voice or chest voice? I will sometimes use these terms if it relates to a singer and their connection to a certain sound or type or area of their voice, but I try to generally avoid them as if they were standalone terms because the reality of it is they don't necessarily mean the exact same thing to every singer. So people talk about their chest voice, and I think sometimes this can be misleading because if you don't know what's actually happening at the vocal fold level and where the sound is going, you might mistakenly think that the sound resonates in your chest. In fact, I know tons of very intelligent singers who thought this for a very long time. It's a misleading term, right? Chest voice, the reason that we call it that, the reason that some people use that term is because there is a sympathetic vibration when we're in that lower talky part of our voice. So if you put your hand here and you talk, hey, 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 you can feel that gentle vibration in your chest. This doesn't mean, though, that the sound waves are resonating in your chest cavity. Actually, what's happening is the sound is created here, and then it resonates out through your throat and your mouth. The same thing goes when we talk about head voice. And head voice is just, we sympathetically feel more vibrations and energy in our head voice, in our head, when we sing higher notes, but that doesn't actually mean that the sound waves are resonating in our brain or in our head, okay? So these are 2 terms that I think you just want to make sure that you understand what's behind them. They define 2 different sound types, right? But they aren't actual resonators in the same way that your throat and mouth are. So when I'm thinking of the term chest voice and what people commonly mean with chest voice, it's again that lower part where you speak a lot of the time, lower part of your voice where you've got a lot of thick vocal fold closure. Your vocal folds are fatter. There's a lot more thyroid activity, which is a muscle set that's underneath the vocal folds that helps to sort of give them that thicker, fatter coordination. So that really is that beefier sound in the lower notes of your voice. Head voice, or when people talk about the term head voice, what they're talking about is those higher notes, woo, woo, hee, hee, up there, right? Where you have more tilt in the larynx, more stretch in the vocal folds, and the vocal folds are moving faster. Okay, so those are the different areas of the voice that can sometimes be qualified with those terms. Remember though, they aren't different voices, it's all one voice. But the term mixed voice comes from the idea of combining these 2 voices or in between head and chest voice. So when people are talking about finding their mixed voice, what they're actually talking about is finding a more balanced coordination in the middle of their range. Because the reality of it is I can take that chestier TA driven sound higher up in my voice to a certain point. I can actually bring the higher register, that sort of like CT cricothyroid muscle driven tiltier sound down further in my voice. So there's a point at which in your voice you have different options as to which coordination to use. They're not different voices, it's just different coordinations, which produces a different color or a different timbre in your voice. So that middle area, right, where you have a couple options, that's where this mixed voice lies. And since these sensations can feel different to each singer, I actually prefer to look at it more like finding the sweet spot in your voice, finding the ease, okay? So finding what feels good to you, what feels easy, what feels resonant, what feels rich, what feels authentic at the different pitch points that you're singing in your voice. And this is where the singing straw comes in, because it's a great balancer, and straw phonation in general just helps us to balance out our voice. Meaning, if you carry too much weight or heaviness in your voice up as you ascend, so say you've got a really heavy chest voice, right? You've got a lot of TA, thyroretinoid activity that keeps those vocal folds thick and fat and coming together in that really heavy way. As you ascend in your range, that's gonna get to a point where it's problematic, too much strain or tightness as you get higher, because the vocal folds have to move faster. And if they're thick and fat and there's too much of that TA heavy sound, then you start to run into some problems. And you know what's great? Is that the singing straw then will help you, because if you take those same lines, that same slide on the straw, it's actually going to help to thin out and lighten out that coordination so that you can better hand off to that higher register. Same thing goes if you have trouble with breathiness or none of vocal fold coordination or issues getting more resonance in the upper part of your range. The singing straw is actually going to help to give you more coordination in those cases. That's why I look at it like the great balancer, because it doesn't care which side of the spectrum you're on. It's just going to help bring you to that middle sweet spot. So no matter which side of the spectrum you fall, here are my 3 favorite straw exercises to help you balance and strengthen your mix. In other words, to help you find that sweet spot in the middle of your voice. All right, so grab your straw. What we're gonna start with here, you guys, is a long 1.5 octave scale. I've done this in a ton of my videos. The reason I start with this scale so often is because it has so many different benefits. And when we're working this mix area in our voice, we really want something that's gonna start on the bottom, force us to stretch and tilt, and then come back to that thicker coordination on the bottom. So that's what that long scale does. So let's take a listen to that 1.5 octaves. Here's how it sounds. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys the lower octave there too. I will play down with my basses, tenors, and baritones, and I will sing in the higher octave with the ladies or my higher voices. Here we go, big breath. Now each time, you guys want to make sure you're touching the bottom and touching the top. So really notice how that sensation shifts in your voice as you're moving. That's it, keep it going. All right, and we're gonna take it up. Again, feeling that thicker resonance on the bottom and that stretch and lightening as you ascend. Only go as far as feels comfortable. It's okay if you have to drop out. You know your voice. Now let's turn that back around. Great job, guys. And feel free to change my tempo if you want. YouTube's got a function. You can go faster or slower. And last one. Awesome. So the next exercise I use a lot for building this balance in the middle of your voice, a major arpeggio with a hold at the top. So essentially here, pretty simple, we're just gonna take, all right, take a nice deep breath. Here we go. Awesome, you guys. So keep this going. And again, if you start to notice a lot of weight or heaviness, really let the straw lead you. It might be different than how you're used to singing these notes. So let the straw do the work for you. It'll help you find that optimal coordination. That's it, you guys. That's it. And if you have a vibrato, allow that to come in. Don't force it, whatever feels natural. But if you notice, we're going way beyond where that sort of head voice kicks in, right? And then we're going to bring it all the way back down to sort of welcome back in that thicker, fatter coordination. So let's bring it back down. Good, good, good. Yeah, and my altos and sopranos really on these low notes here, this root, really try to bring back that chesty feeling. So you might kind of want to sing that more like this, but if you can find that more chesty feeling on the bottom with a little bit more of that TA sound, that balance really going back and forth is what we're looking for here, okay? Three more. That's it. Last one. Great job. So the third exercise I use a ton in mix building or sweet spot finding is the bounce around. So again, the pattern here, if you guys are noticing, it's that these exercises are making you go back and forth and touch different parts of your range. Because ultimately what we want is we want to balance out your voice so that you have ease and flexibility when singing different melodies that cross over. So the bounce around, if you did the January challenge, the singing straw challenge, then you heard this one. But this goes from the 1 to the 5 to the 3 to the octave to the 5 to the 3 to the 1. And you're going to do it twice, okay? So all right, now it's okay to slow this one down if it feels challenging. Also, it feels great, speed it up, whatever works for you. But again, what we're doing here is we're adjusting coordinations because that's what songs do. They don't just, chromatically increase. Your melody doesn't just kind of slowly get higher. What happens in songs is that we're all over the place and you need to find that balance quickly. So that's what this exercise is really good at helping you do. So grab your straw. That's it. Good, good, good. And keep going up. You might notice the balance shifts. Certain areas might be more challenging than others. Totally normal. If you notice that one of these areas is particularly tricky for you, I encourage you to pause and then slow that section down, right? Great. Now I'm going to turn it right back around. Because we are working on that middle part of your voice right now, that in between. Great, great. Three more. Last one. I will jump in with you. Great job, guys. So how does your voice feel now? If you're new to the straw, this is a great place to start. And if you've been using the singing straw for a while, now after you've done these exercises on the straw, see what it feels like to do these same scale patterns on a syllable. Try a nice neutral vowel like bu, as in book, or perhaps meh, as in men. See how balanced you feel as you move through your range. Does one scale feel easier than another? Do you notice where it's easier to find that sweet spot, or are noticing a pull or a strain? If you notice an imbalance come up, grab your straw. Go back and alternate the same exercise with the straw and then come back to that neutral vowel. If you're feeling great with no strain, move from there to a song. This practice will help you to build a consistent and even mix, to really settle into that sweet spot of your voice. Thanks for joining me today. Singers, if you found this video helpful, drop a comment down below. I really do love hearing from you. And while you're down there, please hit that like and subscribe button if you feel so inclined. Happy singing, and I'll see you next week.